Do you want
Okay.
to restart?
No, actually, what I'll do is I'll say for the record that what we started and they called it to order. So we had a technical difficulty. We called the meeting to order at 3:31 p.m. We completed the Pledge of Allegiance. Public input. I believe I have Mr. Bill O'Halloran here from the summit. Would you like to say some words for input, or do you want to just?
Only that we had well, you guys had a problem at our entrance to the building. I guess it was, I talked to Tom Villa. There was some contamination. We're not sure yet exactly how much. Our request is that you folks let us know when and if we have any sort of problems down there. Clearly, you have an easement of some sort. We don't need to discuss whose property it was and what was really going on. We would really appreciate being notified ahead of time. But, you know, when something happens, we should have to ask these kind of things. And I'd appreciate being supplied any documentation. You know, there was some sort of incident report or something, anything in writing.
Yeah, I haven't gotten my hands on it. I got a link from, that got sent to my chief operator. It's from the environmental cleanup company. And the link, all it did was it got me to the DEP website.
I have the spill
And
report.
I didn't know how to find it from there.
Yeah, I have the spill report email. Every time one comes in, I save it, anyone for the town. And I have seen that one,
Okay.
so I can email it after this meeting too.
Okay. I think it was a minor line that split, and when it ran, the fan blew some oil onto the ground, basically. We did have it sampled and all the samples came out non-detects.
Okay.
So I don't know what we're waiting on, probably because it's not a great high priority for them. So they probably have bigger projects or other, projects that they're working on.
So is it that they, from your perspective, they don't have to dig up the soil, they don't have to do anything, or
I don't
they've left
believe
all the
so.
stuff down?
I'm kind of waiting to hear back from them, but they collected samples for the whole laundry list of things that they were looking for, or that were part of that test. They came out non-detected.
Oh.
So I'm anticipating not much more of a cleanup, but
Okay.
we got to wait to hear from them.
But they've left the stuff out there.
Yeah, it's like snow fenced off, and I
Yeah.
think there's a couple of holes right next to the generator.
All right. But yeah, we understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Correspondence? Outstanding. We have the meeting minutes. I would accept a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting of September 11th, 2025. Oh, so we'll have to table that for the next meeting. Go ahead and, we can't even vote on table, I guess technically, or can we? I move we table the meeting minutes for the regular meeting of September 11th. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We'll do the next one. Financial report.
All right, so I sent out an updated June 30th report and September 30th report. We talked about it last month, what the Danbury sewer bill is. I did book the 1.2 million, closer to 1.3 million, moving us the bill that Danbury gave us. So it's on the books now, but we're still waiting to they gave us very little backup, and they came back and gave us a little bit more backup. We're still pushing back on it. It's like a $200,000 to $300,000 increase from what we've seen. I'm sure it's valid, but we're not going to turn around and pay $1.3 million based on just some of the backup.
I meant to look at it a little closer before the meeting. I didn't get a chance to, but it seemed like their outside vendor, their operating vendor, that seemed to be the bulk of that deal. So it's a contractual.
Is it increase in flow or increase in price per gallon or something?
We don't get
know.
that level of detail, Rich.
Okay.
It looked to be like an increase in expenses and a slight decrease in the overall flow, which put our percentage up a little bit. But then I went backwards to look at past years, and our percentage is in the ballpark of where it's been. It's been higher, it's been lower.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just was curious, but you haven't got that information.
I think it's more the dollars are up, and it looked like the main item, which again, I didn't scrutinize it that much, but it looked like the main item was their contract operations. People that run the plant. Looks like that number's been going up.
But like the next item on the agenda is invoices. It's not on the list yet.
But if they have an increase in their contract, they should let the area towns know about that.
So I did talk to the finance director of the city of Danbury. The finance department isn't all that involved in it because the utility department does all that, but they didn't even have backup for the billings. And thinking about it now, some of it is they built this new plant. It probably cost more money to run. But because they've been so far behind on billing, we went from like 0 to 100 on it, and it's like frustrating, like there probably should have been more incremental changes to it.
Yeah.
And I hope these aren't the incremental changes, but we're not getting the detail of enough. And I said to their finance director, I'm like, it's up like 250,000 or so, what it normally is. Like, we're not paying that just based on 2 pages.
Right.
So obviously they haven't been in a rush for their money. It's on our books. The invoice isn't gonna come to this board until we're satisfied with the backup. We may not be satisfied with the number.
Yeah.
And we probably won't be. But until we're satisfied with the backup.
Okay,
So,
thank you
and
for-
again, it's going through the dribs and drabs of information we're getting to them. Doesn't seem to be a priority for them to get it to us. So I have other priorities. I'm sure Tom has other priorities. So we'll pay it eventually, but it's on the books.
Yeah.
Okay.
But by putting it on the book, the sewer department looks like it's in a huge debt. But keep in mind, there's 2 pieces of the sewer, right? Like the deficit in here is based on what we bill, because that's how accounting wise it works. But on a cash basis, the sewer department lost 200,000, not the 880 number. Because of all the way the sewer assessments are billed. And if Danbury didn't go up $250,000 on a cash basis, we'd be $50,000 for the good. So yes, that number is jarring, but it's always runs in a deficit because of the way we bill out the sewer assessments. But cash wise, we brought in $3.8 million or so. Almost $3.9 million of cash came in. And that's, some of that is, it's all related to the sewer assessments. Because we only billed out $170,000 in sewer assessment. But we collected $970,000. But we only bill out the current year, but people are paying out the old balances. And water's in a surplus position of 400,000, even with some of the issues we've had. Current year, we're a quarter of the way in. Sewer is in a deficit position. Some of that is, we look at the sewer financials. I'll give you an actual number. We paid $842,000 of the $985,000 in debt. Our big principal payment is paid in the first quarter of the year. One of the interest payments is paid. The other interest payment will be made 4 to 5 months from now, and then it'll be done. But it does, of the $1 million of debt, if we straight lined it, we'd only have to pay $250,000. So that's a $600,000 swing right there. It's just the timing of it.
I've got a question, getting back to the Danbury.
Yeah.
If it's primarily a contractual thing with the people that run the sewage treatment plant.
Yep.
Is that a multi-year contract? Was it a new contract this year?
We don't get that level of detail. And when we asked for it, we didn't get a bill for 15 months. And I don't know if this $1.3 million, almost $1.3 million invoice includes catch-up from prior years where they estimated. Because what happened when the guy that used to do it, that passed away, I think suddenly, so there was no transition plan in there. They would send us an estimate and a true up of the prior year. And you get that every September. And then we didn't get it and had to ask for it. And it was like 3 months late last year. And it was just an estimate with no true up. So maybe this is the true up too, but we're not even getting that level of information. Which is frustrating, but it's also, if it was still the $1 million, we didn't pay that $1 million. So they're not in a rush to get their money, not in a rush to give us the right detail. We're not going to be in a rush to give them their money. So that's all the stuff we want answered. We're not getting it.
Do we have a formal list of things we've asked them for?
No, because we're not even at that point. When we got the invoice, I called their finance department. I got a call from their like accounts receivable clerk over there. And she had like the one, like barely any detail sheet that we had. And while I was on the phone with her, I asked to talk to the finance director because I know him, and him and I talked, and he goes, yeah, they're slowly getting caught up on stuff, but they're so far behind because that one person that died knew how to do it and knew how to work all the sheets. And now they have somebody in the role, but they're trying to get caught up and figure out what the person did. You know, they had I think a lot of the information of how to do this billing lived in this one person's head. So, which is frustrating, but it's, yeah. So, but it's part of obviously we didn't bump it up enough. The 26 budget, we went up $50,000 because we knew at some point it's gonna go up, but we haven't been able to been adjusting all along because we haven't gotten any real information. Hindsight, we didn't go up enough, but how do you know? Like, if this bill came in at 900,000, we would have looked silly budgeting $1,050,000.
All right. Let us know when you get the actual bill or something you can provide.
So,
We're all interested.
I wouldn't even make a promise that we'll have, I don't know if that invoice will be on the November meeting. Because I have no faith that they're gonna get us a satisfactory answer in the next month.
Was their finance director gonna chase it down for us, or?
I think we have to go reach out to the guy that you've been reaching out to,
Okay,
which,
you got us that one sheet relatively quickly after I asked.
yeah, but
And then
it's
you wanted to
not.
see the 3 previous years, and I don't know if they've ever done the actuals versus the estimates.
So even the sheet the guy gave us had like the biggest line item was the vendor that they used to run it. And no detail of like, and that's why I asked, my first request that Tom sent over was previous 3 years. Cause I want to see what that vendor's done over the last 3 years to see what's going on. To see if that's really the issue or maybe that's, so we're baby stepping along, but. So, and at some point it might get to the point that Tom and I meet with the gentleman and go, what's going on?
They should be motivated if they're waiting on our checks still.
You would think.
Good thing.
Is this worth mentioning it to the boss? We're gonna be hanging out tomorrow.
I don't think so. They don't seem too concerned with getting their money. I don't think anybody on that end truly understands it. So,
Which makes you wonder about the validity of the bill. So,
Well, I've seen that there is a spreadsheet. I got a copy of it way back when, and it really shouldn't be that difficult for somebody. But unfortunately, the guy who did it was the one who was familiar with it, and I think they're trying to bring the new guy along, so.
okay.
So.
You good? That it?
that's frustratingly it.
Frustratingly did. Okay, next up invoices. It's all Bergstrom and SCADA, pretty much.
Pretty much, although I did add a couple of other items that were
I
in the
see
middle of here, so.
So it's. Yeah, so what's with the generators?
Okay, the Cannondale number 7.
Yeah,
That was a capital project we put in for Clark Park 1 station. I think the generator failed on us, Cal. And I put it in the capital. We contracted with them. There was like I think it was 10% deposit. And then this is the 65% payment on delivery, which we haven't accepted delivery, but he's got it. We want to wait for our electrician to kind of get ready for it.
okay.
And then there'll be a third payment, which will be the 25% on startup. Similar, we've done this a few times here in the recent past.
And you had it in capital,
And I had it in capital, correct?
so it's not an emergency.
Correct.
Okay. I see Midway, this is the entire invoice from Taker from Midway
This is to date.
to date,
This is to
okay.
date. His estimate was
Okay. Yeah.
I think 219,
Yeah,
this
because
is,
we approved 250.
this is just about over half.
Fair enough. How far are they from being done?
The new main is installed. The new main's been, pressure tested and disinfected.
Okay.
So now it's a matter of, transferring all the services and then doing the tie-in. So he works in bits and spurts, you know, he's got free time. He works at it 3-4 days in a row. He pressure tested it, yesterday. So we thought he might be back today doing services, but we didn't see him today. Sometimes an emergency comes up. We use them for emergencies. He's
Sure.
pretty busy, so. Everyone has water service. It's just a matter of now of when he gets out there, he'll transfer the services over.
And also tie it in.
And the tie-in, yeah.
Yeah, tie that in.
He'll tie that in when he does the last service.
Oh.
Yeah, we usually,
Any particular reason why?
we transfer them all and then you do the tie-in at the end. It's the way we normally do it.
Yeah, he's got it run to a wall off.
It's like a dead-ended main right
Yeah.
now.
And then he'll switch, once everybody's tied into the new main, then we can kill the old one. And then within 20 feet, tie the two in. Should be one more day of shutdown before. There's nothing on that.
And that shutdown will affect everybody, but we'll get them notice.
Is there any, well, you want to do that in your report?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, we'll if you report to that. Any other
Did you
further
make a
discussions
motion?
on that? I have not yet. Dino, do you have any questions about?
Just curious about the next one, Pullman and Conley.
That is the,
$91, but 4,700, what was that?
yeah, you know what? I realized that today, that it was, the actual is 91. I think she made a phone call to check in. I realized I didn't have at my fingertips the 47. We had to put in for a time extension on the loan because the Bergstrom project got delayed. So they had to go through some hoops to do that. So that's basically what that item is.
And the 4,700 is the,
Did you get that
Previous.
invoice? I was,
it's they have it on their books. They're not actually billing us that, I think, until the first closes. So that's why it's never coming through, I don't think.
okay, we may want to just deduct this one from the total and hold this one off. That's kind of what I had in the back of my mind.
You don't want to pay them the $91.
I'll hold the 91 as well.
We can take that.
I would
We can pay the
actually,
91.
I would suggest you should approve the amount because we're gonna owe the 4,700 at some point.
And just gotta make sure next time the invoice comes around, we don't.
Yeah,
We'll approve it.
which we won't because the system would catch.
Okay.
Yeah, but that gives whenever we do, because we should be closing it soon now that version's going
We
on.
should be closing soon. I think by February we will, so.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be that. I don't think it'll be February. It should be before then.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you want. You'll have to either go back at some point and approve the 4,700.
It's just, we know what's gonna happen. It's gonna come back on a Pullman Conley bill as unpaid. It's gonna get jammed in there again. I guess,
If it gets approved at this meeting, when the requests go up
Okay.
to finance, you don't have to cut the check at this point in time.
No, we'll pay the 91.
Okay.
And when we get the bill for the 4,700, we'll pay that without having to come back around on it.
and we'll have talked about it enough that we'll remember it, right?
Of course.
I would accept a motion to approve $328,040.59 for the payment of invoices. Do I have a second or a motion? Second on the motion. And then, Dino, you'll be second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks, guys. Next up, we have no new business. Director's report.
Just a couple of things, and then I'll probably get more into the capital projects, which is what I've been kind of dealing with more recently. Just for a point of information, I guess, Fairfield County, Middlesex County, and New Haven counties have been now declared a stage 2 drought by the governor. So looking at stage 2, it's more of an awareness stage. No particular, just a kind of get ready in case it gets worse kind of stage. Stage 3, it's a little different. Every water utility has their own kind of drought plan, and then this is kind of the statewide drought plan. So this is kind of more of a planning thing for the state. And even in that plan, they say individual utilities or areas may not be in a drought or they may get in a drought before the state gets to this point. So at this point, it's kind of an awareness week. I put out something a week ago to, we ask people to stop, cut back on outdoor irrigation. I had requested that. Bill and I had a conversation. They wanted to do some extra seeding. I asked him if he could hold off, not knowing if we were gonna have to put in it some kind of a restriction. So, that's kind of where we're at right now. Bergstrom getting fired up at this point is really, we really are not gonna have any real issues. We've got a fair amount of rain coming, I think, this weekend. It's the end of the season. I think irrigation systems are gonna start getting shut down now anyway, so. The other thing is, DPH posted they have to do this annually. For the drinking water, state revolving fund program, they have to put together like an intended use plan. And they usually have a public hearing. We've always had projects on there. I've got a couple still. They're kind of like placeholders until you actually submit for them. So I've got a PFAS treatment at Maple. I put that in a year or so ago. And, we have a couple of like lead and copper related, projects. One would be like a planning and one would be if we actually have to replace lead services. Not knowing if we were or weren't at that point in time. So I've got a couple of placeholders and they noticed that it's, their intended use plan is out. So I'll look at that. And if I have any comments, I'll comment at their hearing.
So I hear, Laura put out something about lead again. Is it the state doing some sort of lead thing again, lead and copper recently?
Oh, the thing you saw was, I think, what we have to do, what I did last year was we had to do an inventory of our services.
Yeah.
Determine whoever had a lead service, a galvanized requiring replacement, or an unknown had to get letters indicating that that's the category they were in.
Right.
You got to do it again this year. So I think Aquarian was basically sending out their letters, and that's what you got from
That's what I was-
Laura.
Right.
What we've collected over this past year since last October, I've got to sort of put it into the spreadsheet and now figure out how many we have in terms of, like, we had 1,300 unknowns. So now that we've identified some, I've just got to now get that up to date. Let's say we're down to 1,200 unknowns, then I got to send 1,200 unknown letters. We didn't discover any lead services.
Yeah.
So,
I was just gonna ask Kelly, when we put the meters in originally, we would have seen if there was any lead services coming into the houses. When
Yeah. The only thing I've seen in this town is the lead whips.
yeah.
Right.
And that's it, but I haven't seen lead
No.
services.
You're right. And when we did the meters, that was what, 99, 2000? I mean, people were clued in at that point to get the lead out.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. We probably, if there was a good contractor that did them, I'm not sure who did all the meters at the time, but they would have probably made note of it.
And question about the galvanized lines. If someone has a galvanized, do they have to replace it or is the town gonna replace them?
It's a galvanized requiring replacement if it has lead ahead of it. And if it's unknown,
If it's galvanized, it probably has a lead whip on it.
well, the lead whip that's another kind of tricky situation. The EPA says don't count it as a lead service if it's just the whip.
Yeah.
And Connecticut, they're not sure if they're gonna enforce that as being part of a lead service. So the utilities are all kind of like, wait a sec, EPA is saying it's not.
Well, if you don't mind, just go back to the galvanized again. So
So if it's galvanized going from the curve valve in,
yeah,
then you should try to find out what's there. If it's copper going to it, then I think you're gonna be fine. If it's got lead ahead of it.
right. Well, that's what I was saying, but the lead ahead of it would only be the whip, but they don't consider the whip a lead.
That's kind of the gray
Okay.
situation.
Okay. Because I know quite a few houses that galvanized coming in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll have to sit down with you and you can update my inventory for me.
My memory.
That was it for my report.
Any comments on Bergstrom?
Well, I was gonna get into that with capital.
Oh, with
so-
Cal, that's fine.
Yep.
Works for me. We had an issue up on Spring Hill. Or I'm sorry, not Spring Hill.
Wait till.
No, around Whipple, didn't we have an issue with a water leak just a few days ago? Water pressure.
It was a pressure.
issue.
The tank got low.
Okay.
And we're trying to jockey between the three tanks to keep it full. And it got low and we needed the tank to fill back up before the pumps would come back on. a lot of people had low pressure, a few people up the top of the hill did lose pressure, lose water totally. It was probably for about 8 hours.
Okay.
And then once we could get enough water up to the tank, then we're able to start the pumps up. That was Sunday.
Excellent. I'm not sure these guys knew about it too. Sounds like you guys did a great job handling it though and getting there when it happened. So well done. All right, old business, MAU replacements.
We got one off the list. We're down to 84. The only problem we have right now is we're reading next Tuesday. So we're probably gonna have a revised list by the end of next week. So that may bump us up a few more. But, yeah, that's where we're at that 80 number now and we're just working it. With we put tags on the doors. The girls are making appointments when they can. A lot of people have been calling about leaks. So we've actually been spending a lot of time on high usage.
Okay.
And a lot of times the toilet,
12, yeah.
we've got to do the same, for people.
Tell them if they get the 50, I'll buy them lunch.
Okay.
Outstanding. Capital project summary status.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So, Bergstrom, quite a bit this month. I'll tell you. In pay level, we're at the 91%. This month's work, the contractor finally started doing a good job with getting the inside of the building cleaned up. So it's looking a little bit to the point where we can get in there and, have a good walkthrough. We disinfected and tested the well. The filtration system been started up and tested. Chemical systems were started up. We've been working closely with the system integrator, NIC Systems, to get the SCADA system up and test out all the alarm callouts to get ready to go into service. We needed the DPH to sign off. They needed a site visit. That occurred on Tuesday. And much to my surprise, we got their approval on Wednesday. So we actually are live and in service. And we ran it last night, overnight for the first time. We had tested out all the alarms, make sure that, it would call out, we would get them. No alarms overnight. So we're going to just continue to use it going forward. Our tanks have been a little on the low side based on the Maple wells. Maple well 2A, the one that was in better shape last summer, we cleaned 1A. Well, we couldn't take 2A out of service to clean it. Now,
Right.
We've got a little bit more, leverage there to be able to do that. So, we're still, we got it dialed in pretty good. We're still learning it, but system seems to be running well. And I got to give kudos to Justin and the operators. They've stuck with it, put in whatever time they had to kind of learn it and understand it. And so far, so good.
And can I just ask, how's the system work? I mean, just because we're still running Maple Wells and Bergstrom now, but
We lowered Maple Wells down to like 70%.
okay.
So that's usually been the low cutoff point. I think if you get the VFDs too much lower than that, they don't pick up water. So we've been running the Maple Wells at 70%, which is maybe 300 gallons a minute. And we've been running Bergstrom at around 500. So we've been putting in a little bit more to catch up with the tanks.
Yeah,
So-
I was just
Yep.
curious
No,
how you were going to balance the
they're
system.
working together and they're all both putting in about the same amount of chlorine, give or take. So system pressures, system chlorines, water quality should really not vary. We were wondering if there's going to be a little bit of change in direction of flow. We got no dirty water calls about that whatsoever. So a few more things to just test out. I mean, with the weekend coming, we want to maybe keep Maple going at that lower flow. This way, if something happens and Bergstrom for some reason shuts off and we got to go and investigate, and it maybe takes us longer to get it going again, at least Maple is on and you can just kind of crank them back up. So probably next week is one of the, I want to shut Maple down and run only Bergstrom and see how that works. Yeah. And there's, different things. We want to, we're running like one chemical pump. I want to switch over and run chemical pump number 2. Make sure to, get all the bugs out, run everything. When we backwash, there's 2 backwash pumps. We run them both. But right now, while we're doing the backwashes now for the first few times, we're just sticking with the pump that's running. Probably next week when we have a full week, while we're off Monday, but while we have, a good long 4-day week ahead of us, we'll start experimenting a little bit. Kind of do all of that while the contractor's still kind of around. So everything we've been doing, startup wise, training wise, has been going well. So, they've been slow in getting us to this point, but, we have confidence in them. They've always been a good contractor for us. So far, so good.
Good, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, it's a big win.
Yeah,
Finally,
it's took many years in the works.
Yeah. Now you mentioned we are getting close to having it clean enough for a walkthrough. Do we think about scheduling a special meeting maybe or something if you think?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm sure you're interested in walking through and checking it out. And I guess if there's a quorum, it's got to be set up as a special
Yeah,
meeting.
that's what we would do. We would set a special
So
meeting for a
I'm
walkthrough.
pretty available next week if you
Yeah.
get together and figure out what day
What I'll
or
do is I'll have Gail send out an email to everybody
okay.
to kind of see where you guys, actually, would you send up,
I could send
would you
it
send an
out.
email? That'd be great. Just see if there's a good time where everybody's available. Next week after. Also, we will invite Matt Knickerbocker. If you'd like to come. I did send him a text today, let him know it was running.
Okay.
Because he was here for the beginning. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
That'd be perfect. When will we be thinking about then? I guess 2A, we have to remediate at some point this fall or spring?
Well, I'm going to call and get a quote on it. And then, like we did 1A last year, like in January, a lot of times the utilities are still cranking out with the weather. We may be able to fit something in earlier because, we're not as dependent on it at the moment. So I would look to get it done relatively sooner than later, but remains to be seen. I wanted to have Bergstrom running for a bit to make sure
Yes.
we're confident with that before we take,
Yes.
one of the wells out of service.
Okay.
But
Anything,
it's something I'm thinking of for sure. So we're going to
Sure.
do that.
anything with PFAS? Any update?
Well, I have one other, the SCADA project. I can give an update on that. Under.
Oh, yeah,
capital-
sorry,
under
capital.
So I got the paperwork from EPA. My application for the grant was approved. So I mean, I knew it was coming, but I had to jump through those hoops and get them the paperwork they needed. So I did get an authorization back. So it'll be after we're actually doing the work at SCADA that, and I have invoices to submit, but at least it's lined up for that.
And when is that scheduled?
Well, NIC, okay, that's my next thing. NIC has the contracts for signature. They've had them now for a couple of weeks or almost a month. He discovered something and it held him back from signing it. He wanted to basically have a conversation. So he did meet with Wright Pierce to discuss it, and we had a meeting yesterday. Basically, that project was going to be a radio. We were going to be communicating via, I think, 220 on the 220 megahertz frequency. On another project that NIC is doing for the New Haven Waterworks, they got a letter from Eversource saying that they can no longer use that frequency. Because as it turns out, Eversource is the primary license holder. So they have control of it. I don't know how that happens or how anyone gets to use it if they are already the holder, but so it kind of threw that New Haven project kind of up in the air. They've got to now come up with an alternate means for communications. So when Ron from NIC realized that was the case, he wanted to have that conversation with us before he just signed the contract. So after discussing it, an alternative is going to be, we're going to look at sites and we have cellular and or fiber. And if fiber is in the area of one of our sites, we can use fiber. The overall will be roughly a credit to the contract price, because cellular is now in the last few years is much cheaper than it was. When we did the radio study, it was like late 2018, and we decided to go radio. Since that time, they both have said, Wright Pierce and NIC, the cellular equipment now costs have come down, they're cheaper, and they're as reliable or more reliable. One question I had for him is like project and NIC works. They do work for like all the utilities pretty much in SCADA. I asked him, are you doing, any of your work now in cellular? He said, so pretty much most everything he's doing now is cellular. So so the project will proceed and it'll basically start out with a change order. So NIC will put together what their plan is to go cellular, to get that to Ray Pierce to approve a change order. So he said the overall is probably gonna be a net credit on the project, which is good. So that's why he was holding off on signing contracts. He's gonna sign them tomorrow, get his bonds together, get that to us. We'll be able to sign and get the thing going. So finally on that one too. And again, I'm very happy that they're the contractor because they're doing the integration at Bergstrom. And I know them for the last 5 years or so. They do really good work. Aquarium uses them, Connecticut Water uses them, Regional Water uses them. I know they do wastewater work as well, and they're top notch. So I think we're in a good spot.
I'm sorry for grilling you earlier on cellular versus radio.
No worries.
I'm just more worried about when that thing fails on a nor'easter, but.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, but
It's-
you also know, take
Yeah.
down the lines of the
Take the radio
fiber.
down.
Take
Or
the
the fiber.
fiber, the
Yeah.
fiber go down too. 'Cause that's
the
still over.
radios fail, you know.
Yeah, they can all fail.
Yeah.
But anyway, I appreciate your time. on it.
Typically, I think Verizon in like mass power outage situations, they bring in generators for their towers.
Some of the towers have generators
Yeah,
parked out.
yeah. It improved it so much.
So that was it for my
Okay,
capital.
PFAS.
PFAS, I did get one email from the administrator. They wanted to verify our bank account number and they say the first payments from the DuPont class action are being prepared. So I don't think we've gotten anything yet, but that's why
There you go.
there.
And Brad, that just, I think we talked about that. That just goes into a separate account, not into the general.
Yeah, so it'll just go into a non-lapsing account and we'll just have it sit there until we decide.
We need to use it.
Yeah, we received the one DuPont
Right.
and now we'll be getting our first it's the company, not DuPont.
3M.
Oh,
3M.
Um,
Okay, we got the 3M.
We got the
DuPont
3M.
is going to be in the works.
And I'm sure if we don't have PFAS issues, there's gotta be restrictions on the money, but we haven't even gotten to that point right now where we don't, just collecting the money and see what happens.
Mhm.
Well, at some point, it's going to become an issue.
Well,
Yeah,
we know we tested over at Maple,
Yeah.
so we're going to have to probably do something. Once Bergstrom's on, I want to let it run a little bit and then I want to start collecting some samples, probably quarterly.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, if we're not pulling as much, you might not be drawing this much across
I'm not sure.
soil.
It's there.
Yeah,
Somehow or
well, yeah.
other, it's ubiquitous, so it's there. Hopefully at Bergstrom, it's not. We had one hit and it was under the proposed MCL. So
The old fire trading place that Danbury had, did they use a lot of PFAS there? Firefighter foams?
I would assume so. That seemed to be an industry that, used a lot of that material that had the PFAS.
Are they downstream?
They're kind of
also?
downstream of
Or
us.
Downstream though, right?
Yeah,
Cause that
we-
goes north there.
the
I don't know
Berg-
which way the ground
Yeah.
flows.
The Bergstrom well had really no impact on that adjacent Lime Kiln. Is it Lime Kiln Brook? No, it's the East Swamp Brook. When we pumped for 2 weeks straight at a high flow, no level changes in the brook. We had no impact at the Maple wells. So, I think there's a confining layer and we went through that to the aquifer below. And it's shallow. It's only 50 to 60 feet, whereas the Maple wells are like 140.
Sewer capacity study?
Yeah, I don't have an update. I wanted to leave it on the agenda. After our meeting last month, I sent information on what we've done in recent years. They wanted to know about our I&I studies and so on. So I sent them some stuff. He thought they needed to kind of get a better look at that before they can have their proposal. So I didn't expect necessarily that we were going to get it for this month, but I will call them early on now to make sure that they have us something for next month.
Well, that'd be interesting to see if we get that report from Danbury, that all the work we did with the what is it?
I&I infiltration and inflow.
Right. If it really helped us, you know?
You know, I've seen our numbers go down, and then like a year and a half ago, when we were getting all that rain, our
Rain,
numbers for everywhere were up, and now we're back down again. So it really is, it might be inflow as much as it is infiltration.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, utility supervisor report.
I've got two things to report on. Car Park One, and we're talking, we have the generator for, the building's been taken down by, Tom Kane. Generator's been removed, and the pump that I had mentioned at last month's meeting, we had issues with, they sent it out. And it does, if we need to replace it, it definitely had fried up. So that pump's probably about 8 to 9 years old. We've got a new one on order, but the other one is fine.
Okay.
So probably all at one time. And the other issue out of Walnut, we got to replace an impeller in one of the pumps, about a $1,200 item. Sucked the rock in, we end up the pump, and it put a gouge into the impeller. So we know that if we put it back in with the existing impeller, it's just gonna pick up racks. It's gonna go down there. So wait on that.
Will our guys replace it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that thing.
Right.
That's really normal.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I got. Anybody have anything?
You know what the lead time on the pump replacement?
48 on the pump. That's why we moved on it last week as soon as I got a report back. The impeller didn't give me a lead time on that one. I mean, if we had an emergency, if something happened to the other one, we could put it back in, but I know we'll be pulling it to Clinton. But we do have a plan for out of home.
Are those cast impellers?
We found them two ways. We found cast and bronze. The bronze seemed to be eaten up, but we're sticking with the cast. That was one of the main things. I mean, I know we're talking freshwater, but that was one of the issues we had over at South Street. For some reason, the material in the bronze impellers, they were just disintegrating after 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But we're staying with the cast.
Excellent. Well, with that, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.
4:14. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
This is an easy meeting.
Easy.